first be a catalyst to take this to universities. It's okay now the government is saying 5% of all curriculum should be Indian knowledge systems. At least we have some opening. I can go to a university and today say that we will offer Ganita, we will offer Nakshatra Vidya, we will offer Jyotisha, we will offer Yoga, we will offer Ayurveda. This thing can happen today, but the university system is not structured to understand this. And complex change is very difficult because they already have a curriculum, they have a set kind of faculty. How do you introduce there? So there are 5 kinds of stakeholders that we need to constantly engage with. At the top is really the political leadership and bureaucracy, because they set the policy. Part of our work through an instrument called Capacity Building Commission, we take Indian knowledge systems to all the IAS, IPS, IRS officers. Luckily, this government has given us the chance through Mission Karma Yogi to say all the bureaucrats should at least have some learning in Bharatiya Jeevan Drishti. So part of our work is to develop content. In fact, we take sessions for them. 3 days ago, I've taken a session for Income Tax Department in Delhi, talking to them about Bharatiya Jeevan Drishti. And there is good receptivity. While the system does not allow it, individuals can still take charge. I did this for the national income tax at the central level. I have 6 requests now from the regional income tax departments. So there is macro change happening there at the state level. Unless the state start seeing this, we will have to swim upstream against the tide. The second level is academic leadership. We need to engage with VCs, with principals. Everything in this segment, like everything else in the world, boils down to leadership. Somebody who is able to make this their life's work, who has the conviction and who has the ability to give that vision to people and recruit people into that vision. Unless we are able to do that, like all of us are here because Muneetji's vision, and we all willingly submitted ourselves to actually forwarding that vision. So engaging with vice chancellors, engaging with principals, making sure that the community is aware of this is the second part of how we look at it. The third, which has not happened yet, which should happen, and I promise the next generation that by the time they are actually looking for work, we will create more opportunities on this, is industry. We need to get into every single industry that is there with our district. Whether it is arts, whether it is commerce, whether it is anything else, you have to make sure that you have an IKS-oriented leader populating these institutions. So that is the third level of engagement. So you have the policy and political leadership, you have the academic leadership, you have the industry, and fourth, and very critical, and I'm glad so many of you are here, and all of you are here because you have seen that vision, is parents. Parents have to be engaged. This has to become a national mission for us, that we are engaging with parents to talk to them about the parenting challenge today. It's not an easy challenge. There is, like I said, the force of globalization. There is the force of creative artists who are against your culture. And young people today, and all of us, the true global religion today is self-expression. We want to express ourselves. And I want to get validation from the society for that. I want to put something out and I want to get a recognition for that. And whichever ideology gives them the ability to do that, they will follow it. This is the challenge. Why are young, bright, smart people taking a candle and speaking against India? Not because they believe in that entirely. In fact, a lot of them don't even know. It is just that it has become a club for them to have self-validation. And we haven't created those aesthetic experiences ourselves. We haven't created that self-expression story. Art, I was saying, performative arts is so critical because performative art, our Bharatiya Kala, is the one that can give you the power of self-expression. And it is only through self-expression that we can actually tackle the. And the fifth and the most important stakeholder after policy, academic leadership, industry, parents is the young person. The entire industry, entire educational system has to focus. All teachers have to commit and make the child the center of their attention. We owe it to them because we've created this confusion. In fact, a lot of times I say that what I do now is a penance for what I've done earlier. Because we have mistakenly embraced this kind of dimension where we indexed on the cognitive intelligence but did not actually develop the other intelligences. We have ignored social intelligence, we've ignored the core of spiritual intelligence, we've ignored interpersonal intelligence. All other dimensions of human have been neglected because a liberal global economic structure gives you only one way to plug into it. We need to unplug from there and we need to once again focus back on child. Indian knowledge systems, Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, all of you who are aware of VidyaKshetra's work, is basically the extreme potentiality of every individual is recognized. All of us have, Sri Aurobindo says, we have only three impulses, right, fundamentally. We have an impulse to love, we have an impulse to learn, we have an impulse to do. The impulse to love in this nation became Bhakti Yoga. The highest expression of love is not your love for yourself or for others, it is the expression of love to divine. The highest expression of impulse to learn became Jnana Yoga. The highest expression of impulse to do became Kriya Yoga. This is Bharatiya education. This is experiential. And when you look at this as education, then you see that all of us, whether you are an American, Indian, doesn't matter. Why Bharatiya Gyan Parampara is not only for Bharatiya, it is actually for the entire Vishwa. It is that because every human has only 3 or 4 fundamental strengths. You have your attention, you have your will, you have your memory, you have your ekagra, your focus. This education system understands how to maximize the potential of all these innate qualities. How do you maximize this? This has to come together as a policy today. So our work on one level is to take this secret that we have to state through that training that I spoke about as Mission Karma Yogi, and to society as media, as academia, as corporate training programs. We have to populate entire society with this wisdom. So public policy work for us is actually advocating Indian knowledge systems, but making sure that we develop the human capacity to populate in all the societal spaces which can work in tandem. And like I said, the second thing apart from learning that will take us forward is collaboration. We need to learn to collaborate. Like Muniji said, this is not going to happen just one institution or 2 institutions. We need every organization to focus on what they are doing. We need to build organizations, not individuals. Individuals are important and they'll always be torchbearers, that's good. But we need the power of collective to come together, different kinds of people. In my team, I have a Shastra scholar, a performing artist, an MBBS doctor who is also a lawyer. I have a product developer, I have a cultural anthropologist, and I have somebody who's from psychology. This is the kind of compounding that needs to happen because knowledge is multidimensional. Today, knowledge is multisensorial. Knowledge is also multimodal, online, offline, physical, all of this. We need to address in a strategic way all of these requirements of learning. This is what we mean by Indian knowledge systems, and the policy work is to, now the policy is there, how do you build capacity? How do you make faculty aware of this? How do you take this Bharatiya Drishti? How do you take the idea of yoga and homa into social sciences? What is the sociological phenomena here when we all come together and take sankalpa? Now I'll just leave with one story that has inspired me so much and helped me understand Bharatiya Drishti, and Muniji will probably resonate with this deeply because of his chitta. About a year ago, there was a terrible train accident in Bangalore, in Orissa. Some of you might remember this. And everybody in that accident died. Very, very unfortunate accident. And all of us mourned for a minute and then flipped. And then had the spike. That's all we can do today, right? What can you do? On the 11th day, I saw a 1-minute news clip on TV. People in that village, nearby villages, they came together on their own and they performed the Shraddh rituals for people who passed away. I want us to reflect on this for a minute, what education really means, what Vidya really means, what Sanskriti really means. These are what we would consider illiterate. These people are not educated, they don't speak English, they are not, luckily they are not spoiled by education in the university. They came together not because state asked them to. There was no DM giving them an incentive. Whereas the state now says for you to vote, you need to do this. Look at what we're doing to the society. A society that is capable of such high sacrifice. We are incentivizing them to do what their basic duty is. And when you do that, you orient people to lower standards. They came that day, and all of us understand Shraddh ritual. You have to fast and you have to tonsure your head, and you need to be there all day. People that they've never met, people that they will never meet. And think about the philosophy of this. Why did they do this? They did this because in the Hindu worldview, your Atma has a journey, and if it is interrupted in a certain way abruptly, it needs to be released for the journey to carry forward. This abstract metaphysics, the last person in the village knows, and they can self-organize to do it for somebody that they have never met. This is Tyaga. This is tapas. Right? This is the society that we are. So when we go to the society, we have to look at the greatness of Bharatiya society. And Munitji's vision is actually to develop our drishti to be able to see that. That is why he's always talking about Samaj. He's talking about education, but he is always interlinking that with Samaj. And this teacher training program, Acharya Nirman, is actually the Setubandha for building that kind of skill, that kind of mission, that kind of conviction, that we can link this drishti once again back to the society. So at a policy level, this is our work, and this is a part. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghavji. Some sucker to the past years there. We will definitely have some Q&A. But before that, I would like to invite, let's hear from Sahanaji. A brief introduction of Sahanaji. We know Sahanaji from quite some time. A chance meeting with her visit to VidyaKshetra led us to a very long-standing association. She lives in the US, but her heart and soul works for India. Sahanaji is an author, commentator and public speaker known for her deep research and evocative writing on Indian civilization, history and education. With a background in engineering and environmental journalism, Sahana brings a multidisciplinary perspective to her work. Bridging technical